setting. What can you do in a short amount of time? Let's tip it up. Let's see who's going to the Myrtle Beach Invitational Final. Utah State in the white, New Mexico State in those sharp black uniforms. We could have asked for a better officiating crew. Lee Cassell, Roger Ayers, Pat Adams have us covered. And here is Justin Bean, this gargantuan performance yesterday. Rylan Jones has it. Right wing triple is down and out. He's the steady point guard for Utah State, who was also exceptional in the double overtime win yesterday afternoon. Here's the Dollar General starting five for those New Mexico State Aggies. You highlighted him, Dane. Teddy Allen went for 22. How about Jabari Rice, the really steady point guard presence for this Aggies team?
Yeah, almost put up a triple-double yesterday. Has not played point guard before, but handling those duties extremely well.
He's got it in a rush. Allen cuts through, stays here.
New Mexico State traditionally does not like to get up and down too much. They like to control tempo. But given the double overtime yesterday of Utah State, I think they probably want to see Utah State have to run with them a little bit.
Well, and it's just a veteran crew. Look at this starting five for Ryan Odom. All juniors and seniors. Allen caught underneath. He gets out of the paint in time. This is Rice. Tried to squeeze it into Will McNair, who's a pretty physical presence down low. It's a kick ball. The Aggies with a couple of impressive wins, and I say the Aggies, I'm going to have to clarify today, Utah State. They beat Richmond last week at the Naval Academy. The double overtime thriller yesterday, their one loss to UC Davis. A little bit of a bizarre one to get the year started, but they've kind of found their footing. Offensive foul there, Dane. Ball back to Utah State.
And probably won't be the last time Rylan Jones sticks in there and takes a charge. Just such a disciplined defender. Ton of sacrifice for his team. Took several of them yesterday as well.
Yeah, I think he had about three. Unflappable presence. Here's the UMBC transfer, Brandon Horvath. He came with Ryan Odom as head coach, and he nails a triple to get things started.
Good sign for Utah State. I thought Horvath never really found a great rhythm. Had a little bit of an ankle injury yesterday. Good start there.
Here's Donnie Tillman. He can stretch it. McNair, yep, that's over the back. And he starts tiptoeing afterward, but Lee Cassell got him for his first personal. And that's two team fouls quickly on New Mexico State. And there is Ryan Odom, Dane. 5 years at UMBC. Did you hear about that one game they played Virginia in the tournament? 16-1.
I told him he should have just retired and gotten the benefits of the Disney movie that'll come out. Yeah, that's legendary.
Is that thing going to be on Netflix or Hulu in about 10 years? We'll see. Here's Brock Miller. And that one's pure. Well, Disney Plus, actually. Brock Miller, the senior from Sandy, Utah. Silky smooth stroke. Now, let's see if he can get scoring, get going early when it comes to scoring. It's a foul on the drive on Justin Bean, his first.
Well, Miller just so solid for this Utah State team. Comes off the bounce, comfortable pulling up. Did a heck of a job defending one of Penn's best perimeter shooters yesterday. Didn't necessarily fill the stat sheet, but still a very important player for this team. I got to tell you, though, the guy at the free throw line, McCants, he surprised me yesterday. I underestimated him. I mean, yes, he's a big man, but he makes point guard plays at the center position. Terrific passer, brings great energy, reliable big with high IQ for Coach Chris Jansen.
Fifth-year senior, he is the Las Cruces kid. Now 5 years the program, just an experienced vet. It's an early lead for Utah State, couple minutes in. Idle Rock, well, the lane opened up, and RJ has his first bucket. Allen in a hurry. He left his feet, and fortunate that time that McCants bailed him out, and he sticks it.
They do such a great job. When they penetrate that baseline, they have shooters spotted up, and they are expecting to get the pass. Shot ready.
Yep, McCants with a quick five. Great rhythm and pace to this one to start. Jones splits two, picks up the dribble. Horvath, no look, and Bean cuts to the rim. He does that better than anybody.
Yeah, he moves without the ball as good as any player you'll see across the country. He never stops moving and gets easy buckets as a result.
Well, we got 16 points in 3 minutes. These two teams have combined to go 6 of 9 from the field. Tillman, right idea, but just landed at the wrong spot on the floor and right through McNair's legs.
Yeah, it's 6'7", 225, and 6', 178 Rylan Jones holding his own, and this time Horvath, when they penetrate, they know when they turn, that 34 is going to be cutting down the lane. It is part of their offense. And here's the thing, Kevin, if he doesn't get the pass, he's already in offensive rebounding position where he gets so many of his points as well off easy putbacks.
He's just really instinctual the way he plays, no? Horvath got bumped off course. That's the first foul on Donnie Tillman. That's you just outlined it. 6'7", 225. And body flying right into Horvath.
But to show you the respect Chris Jansen, this New Mexico State team, has for Jones, when he gives it up, they're denying the ball back to him. They want to make Utah State play 4-on-4 and see who else can create for others.
Chris Jansen's team 3-0. They beat UC Irvine, UTEP, Davidson yesterday. 5 years for Chris in Las Cruces. He's won 79% of his games. That's fourth best in terms of programs across the country. Fourth best winning percentage the last 5 years. That's
unheard of. Yeah, you go into a season, if you win less than 80% of your games, that's a disappointment. I mean, that's the type of standard Chris Jansen has set. An absolute winner and a heck of a ball coach.
We were talking to him before this one, and he said, we got to find a way to locate Justin Bean. He's slithery, he's versatile. A good one in the first of 2 semifinals today. The second coming up at 5 Eastern later. 2 in the shot clock. Idle Rock rises, and he's got 2 quick buckets. Rice, step back 3. A quick pull, and the Utah State Aggies on the move. Miller on the catch. Allen with the board. Rice comes to set the screen. This is the talented scorer, Allen. Got it blocked. It was Horvath. Now Bean for 3. And the rebound down to the big man, Yuat Alok. An 11-7 lead for Utah State. First battle between these two old WAC rivals for the first time in more than 8 years. McCants triggers, short. Both teams in a hurry, sometimes to get into their offense, in a sense.
What you're seeing right now, the missed shots are short, which tells you they're still getting their legs under them after a very hard-fought victory for both teams yesterday.
That's the first foul on McCants. And it leads us to our first timeout. Utah State 5 of 9 from the field to start a 4-point edge for the Aggie.
Of inspiring players that sort of come out of nowhere.
We're only 3 games in, but he's second in the nation in scoring, 26.3 a game, third in rebounding, 14 a game. Here is that journey you referenced. He leaves high school in 2015, and he had really nothing on the books. There was no commitment from any Division I program that's including Utah State. Gets back from his mission trip, and remember, his mission trip was in Reno, Nevada. That's where he was assigned, and now he was able to link up with the Utah State coaching staff. Of course, they play Nevada in Reno in the Mountain West Conference, and they were able to connect for the first time, and he voiced his interest. They had the walk-on slot available, so credit Bean for kind of manifesting this whole thing,
well,
too.
And like any big-time recruitment process, the conversation started at a Reno, Nevada subway over a $5 footlong. So
that's actually true.
That's probably the least expensive recruiting pitch I think the program's ever seen with big-time results.
Man, what was it like when you met Bruce Pearl for the first time at Jersey Mike's? Was it fun?
Yeah, he told me to pay for my own meal. You're not worth the scholarship.
But let me ask you this, Sid. What about him? We could list off all the numbers, but what intangible, something, his presence from yesterday that impressed you the most in that win?
I tell you, in yesterday's win against Penn, and now today against New Mexico State, there's no cupcakes out here. You have hard-playing, tough guys all over the court, yet he still jumps off the screen at you with his energy and effort, and that's saying something.
Here's a three in the air. Rylan Jones, and it's back-to-back for Utah State. Horvath previously, and the junior transfer from Utah. Danny had 21 yesterday.
And I thought really starting in the second half, Jones quit hesitating on those opportunities. Before, too many pump fakes in previous games. This time he's going around looking for that shot.
Oh, they have locked down New Mexico State on that end of the floor. It's a 10-0 run, maybe more. Rise and fire, and Jones got it again. Timeout, New Mexico State. They're cooking now. 13-zip run for Utah State. Limited for both teams yesterday.
Yeah, for New Mexico State going up against Davidson and Utah State Penn. I mean, you were trading blows that entire game. It was hard to sit there and call a timeout and say, all right, let's get our subs in, when it was just going blow for blow. 2 boxing matches yesterday.
First of 2 semifinals. The second coming up later at 5 Eastern. That's Oklahoma and Indiana State. It's a 15-3 extended Utah State run. Mario McKinney, number 4 in the black, into the game. And these New Mexico State Aggies, they have not had as many paint touches early on as I recall from yesterday's game. There's a foul though on the other end of the floor.
You're spot on, Kevin. I mean, they operated that entire offensive possession. It wasn't until 8 seconds on the shot clock that they even got it within the 3-point line, and it was still 15 feet away. Some of that is defense to Utah State, but New Mexico State's got to force the issue a little bit, create some interior opportunities.
Idle Rock swats it, gathers it. Yeah, he was out of bounds. And Chris Jans is giving an earful to his inbounder there. Risky pass, to say the least.
I think Idle Rock's been really good quietly in this first half. Aggressive on offense, much better defensively. I thought he struggled against Jordan Dingle of Penn yesterday, but he's done a nice job on Teddy Allen. The transfer from UMBC, finding his footing with this new program.
Well, he's 6'4", 225 pounds. You glance at number 5 in the white, bulky, thick. That's a big body that Allen has to try to blow by. Five to shoot. Allen between the legs. That 3 is short. And he's now 1 of 3 from deep. And it's New Mexico State's leading scorer. He's gone for 16 a game through the first 3 games of the year. He went tumbling. Horvath in the corner. Idle Rock, head fake. Bean, 15-footer, that's easy.
We're accustomed to seeing him cut more towards the basket, but shows you the repertoire there. He's got the mid-range as well.
In 3 games, he's shooting 64% from the field, 6 of 10 from deep. And he has scored it at all 3 levels, and he's putting the work in on this side of the floor, too.
Yeah, you want to see Justin Bean in a nutshell. Let's go back-to-back possessions. First, he moves without the ball. His teammates know where to find him, just spots up casually. How people continue to lose him, I do not know. And then outworks the opponent, hustle, save out of bounds, gets his team a possession. I mean, I can't say enough about the heart that this kid plays with. He's a star in the making, yet has that walk-on chip on his shoulder attitude towards his game.
Yeah, I think both can be true. I mean, right now, is no question the early favorite. And look, we're only 3 games in, but when you go back-to-back 30-point games, you're going to be the early favorite for preseason player of the year. He's got his family in town. You see wearing the number 34 jersey. That's his mother. His wife was sitting next to Mom. That's Claire. Steve Ashworth down and out. Bean, second effort. And McNair clears it. Good, strong rebound for New Mexico State. They need a bucket in the worst way. 17-3, Utah State run. Past the midway mark, first half. Winner to the championship game on Sunday. Cross-court feed. Allen gets loose. Short. Tillman. He got bumped.
Yeah, Kevin, I'd like to see New Mexico State guards to attack off that ball screen a little bit more. Utah State defending it well, but way too hesitant.
Yeah, there you go. There's the family. Claire on the right. That's mother. His dad Gordon is here as well.
That's why he wears 34.
Yeah.
Played at Idaho State, part of the 1987 NCAA tournament team. You know, he's one of 5 players that are married on this Utah State team, which is a pretty unique student-athlete experience. Most student-athletes are sleeping in till 10, everything else. These guys are mowing the lawn, doing dishes, laundry.
Yeah, who took the trash out in your Hoops dorm room?
Exactly, yeah.
It's like trying to draw straws for that one. And you can see, of course, the LDS lifestyle, if you will. Very common for these guys to get married, maybe have some kids. Brock Miller has one on the way. His wife due in March. He's Dorius, who's starting to wreak some havoc, or pardon me, that's the big man. Shimon Zapala, the sophomore from Poland, gets some early run, and he's headed to the free throw line.
Yeah, did not see him at all in yesterday's game, and you know, here he is, just giving them an extra body. Again, you wonder with all the minutes they played yesterday if they were going to go deep on their bench. I think they've made a conscious effort to do so.
Yeah, first time he's played since the opener. That's just a good confidence boost to see that one fall through. I mean, hey, this is lopsided here. 12-point game. It's been lopsided in essence after the first 5 minutes or so. Did you expect it to play out this way?
Yeah, I didn't expect Utah State to be so fresh, but oftentimes when you play that many minutes, it's the second day where it really comes to you. But good news for them, they get a day off tomorrow, unlike a conference tournament situation. So really impressed. But I think if you're New Mexico State, you want to get ball screen action right there. Make 12 and white defend on the perimeter.
Rice attacks and flings it out of bounds. So I'm sure you're good with the attack, but it just didn't end with a great result.
Well, I think Rice was expecting his teammate to stick in the corner for the open 3 where they get so many of their looks, and instead, I believe it was Peak cutting to the basket. Just bullet pass.
Now, if there's one thing that Chris Jans has, players like Rice, who were here a year ago, he's got a few of them that played during one of the most bizarre, frustrating seasons of college basketball. Jones turns it over. The state of New Mexico, of course, had strict regulations. New Mexico State had to play its games and practice in another state. It could not even practice as a team with this large of a group indoors in New Mexico in October, November, December. They spent 71 days, Dane, at the Arizona Grand Resort and Spa. You know, a resort and spa sounds great. I don't know about 71 days. Yeah. And Utah State ball after another turnover. Utah State, they were on that 17 to
take the big man one-on-one.
Here we go, McNair back it up. Ryland Jones, step back. Oh, Ryland Jones buries it.
McNair had to give him a step because he didn't want to get beat to the basket, and did a decent job, a contested 3. Jones just really in his zone.
He is 3 of 4 from deep, 9 quick points for the Utah transfer. Rice gets free. Nope. Tillman, he's chased down a couple of loose basketballs. And someone's got to help him out. Allen, deep 3. Yeah, New Mexico State gained 3 of 12 from beyond the arc.
Yeah, double-digit triples yesterday is what really got them the win.
Bean right to the rack. His defender gambled, went for the steal, and Justin Bean starting to pour it in here in the first half.
Now, New Mexico State was not down this big to Davidson, but it was the end of the first half that they made a couple buckets just to give them a little bit of confidence that bled over to the second half. They better do that in a hurry before this gets away from them.
17-point cushion. Allen attacks, floats it up, and it's a loose ball foul on New Mexico State. Allen was begging for a call, nothing, and the error is compounded. Ball back to the Aggies. They just can't get anything clean in this first half.
No, they can't, but I think if you ask Chris Jans, he'd tell you, hey, we might be 4 of 17, but you know what? That means the other team better be 4 of 17. Instead, Utah State shooting at a 58% clip from the field.
That's the 7th team foul, meanwhile, on New Mexico State. So 1-1 coming up for Brock Miller. Tillman and McCants both have 2 personals. Miller, the senior from Utah, he's one of the captains, along with Bean, for this Utah State team. Giant matchup in the Big Ten. Tomorrow at noon, ABC, Michigan State, Ohio State. Also catch it on the app, on the go as well. So when you're on the beach tomorrow, you know, you can throw that game on. Ohio State controls its own destiny.
I know the cool kids talking about when an NBA player, whoever gets a big contract, they say he got him a bag. Mel Tucker, Michigan State, got him a bag, man. What's the report? 10-year, $95 million?
Ooh.
All I'm saying is if you're Nick Saban, you're like, hey, he doesn't have the rings I got.
Yeah.
If that's the standard in the market rate,
Yeah.
I'll take 200.
Yeah, let's make some adjustments. Well, they have locked him up, and Michigan State has had, of course, a very impressive year. I know they're not happy about the loss to Purdue a couple of weeks ago, but they're still in a position to reach the Big Ten title game. Oh, this is suffocating defense. Here's the Bahrainian, Z Hamoda. And a little out of control. And so he turns it over. How about this? Right there, number 24 in the white. The first Division I men's basketball player from Bahrain. Ryan Odom was saying, you know, I watched him when I was at UMBC while he was playing prep up in Maine. I liked what he saw. And here he is. He's playing Division I hoops.
First ever from his country.
Right off the eastern African coast. Well, we've covered a lot. We've got geography. We've got economics with our Mel Tucker discussion. We're covering all the topics.
I tell you, when I look at New Mexico State, I wonder, all right, what's their stop the bleeding play? Like, where do they go when things are struggling so much offensively? And I just
what's your guess?
Haven't seen that set yet. And I think the answer is it's getting a defensive stop so they can get some numbers in transition and make it a little bit more chaotic on the offensive end, because the half-court sets just aren't giving them what they want offensively.
Yeah, they're going on 5 minutes without a field goal. Utah State in full control. Brock Miller offline. It's still a 19-point lead.
But when Brock Miller shoots that, look how Utah State sent almost everybody back. I mean, they are not crashing the glass too aggressively and keeping the Utah State Aggies at the half-court offense.
Let's see if Allen can start to ignite. Just hoist it up, and that's a big one. Their first field goal in almost 5 minutes. So they're getting doubled up, but at least it's back to a 16-point game.
Well, admittedly, for better or worse, this is an emotional team. So see if that can't get them in a rhythm.
These two haven't played in 8.5 years. The old WAC rivals, and it's Utah State who's sticking it to the Las Cruces Aggies in the first half. It's another foul on New Mexico State.
This one's from pretty deep for Teddy Allen. He's going to step into it. A little bit of a funky release. Kicks his foot out some. Unique form, but pretty effective nonetheless. How good's Miller been in this first half? I mean, he was more of a defensive star yesterday, but after this free throw, he could be tied with leading them in scoring. And they just got so many different guys that can hurt you. I mean, towards the end of this half, you won't be surprised they may have 3 guys in double figures already for Utah State.
Bean, Miller, Jones with 8, 9, and 9 respectively. And they have locked up on this end of the floor as well, playing phenomenal team defense. A-Lock lost it, Rice pounced on it. And they whistle a traveling violation. And this is a frustrated New Mexico.
You can just call me direct, man. I'm very accessible when you're low totem pole guy like me.
Hey, good for you. Keep it. Take an extra 10%. That's
one of those, like, when you don't want to respond too quick to a text or something. You want to act like you're busy, but you're really not. So you give it a couple minutes.
Sorry for the delay.
Yeah.
Sorry I missed this. It's like the cover we all try to use. That's a strong trio in the studio, by the way.
Sure is.
Like those 3 guys. Can we go 3-on-3? What other 3 are up there in Bristol right now?
Those guys do it all. But you know, I love the point they made too about Rylan Jones, because you know, as much as Bean is the heart and soul of this team, you still want that alpha male at the point guard spot, that quarterback. And I think they have the luxury of both. You know, kind of that inside-outside presence with Bean, but still knowing that Rylan Jones, who, by the way, the most underappreciated stat from that big one yesterday, 10 for 10 from the stripe.
Yep.
How big were those in the double overtime win?
They outlasted Penn in 50 minutes. New Mexico State breezed by Davidson at the end, but they're having trouble, as Spatola and the crew alluded to. Less than 3 to go till half. Late in the shot clock. A-Lock. Not a high percentage look, but he had to hoist it and improvise with the clock winding.
Kevin, they've only had 3 guys score in this game. I mean, they just have to get somebody to give them a spark.
Oh, Bean, he's wide open. Splashes another. You cannot leave Justin Bean that wide open.
And that's through hard work. I mean, under 30% three-point shooter last year, and he has put in the work in the offseason to be a no-leave type guy.
And New Mexico State now 4 of 16 from deep. 21. Oh no, not again. Just off. Man, what happened there? Bean guarding McCants in the paint. A-Lock. Nice slithery move, but looked like he lost the handle on the way up. Jones to Bean. Kick out, idle rock. And to the top with less than 90 seconds till half. It's a 21-point lead for Utah State. Jones attacks, and he lays it in.
I'm shocked, Kevin. I really thought the physicality of New Mexico State would provide more resistance to this Utah State offense, but the execution has been flawless.
G.G. Avery way off that time, and yeah, hands down the largest lead. Oh, there's Bean in transition. Idle rock to Bean, now 13, and Utah State is just a runaway train right now with less than a minute to go.
Just an absolute clinic, and Coach Chris Jan's going to have some choice words. He told his team coming in, he said, national TV, we're either going to get great exposure or get exposed. First half, they are getting exposed, and somebody better step up in this second half.
Avery misfired from deep previously into the paint, and there it is. is Rylan Jones. Again, he slides in and sacrifices the body. Offensive foul.
He is one step ahead on both ends of the court. He can read things before they happen offensively and defensively. He knew where the opponent was going before they even did. Such terrific instincts by Rylan Jones, the hometown kid that grew up dreaming to play for Utah State. And boy, he plays like he is living out his dream.
So he's at Utah the last couple of years. Coaching change. Craig Smith takes the job. He comes over from Utah State, and he decides, let me enter the transfer portal. Ryan Odom gets hired at Utah State. Rylan's dad, a longtime assistant coach in Logan, so he goes back home where he spent many years with his dad on staff at Utah State. He's got a couple of years of eligibility. A turnover with 5.8 to go. It is a lopsided affair in our first semifinal. 5 seconds, Rice bumped. And Utah State had one foul to give, so they'll inbound it this side. The Aggies, Dane, 58% from the field and limiting New Mexico State to 21% shooting. They've also turned them over 8 times.
Yeah, more turnovers than made baskets.
Oh,
There's
wow.
another one.
There's
9 turnovers, 5 made baskets for New Mexico State. And as bad as it's been offensively, it's been just as bad on the defensive end, which was Chris Jans's biggest concern was, would we allow our offensive inefficiency dictate our defense, and it sure has in this first half.
Jones, Miller, and Bean, they combined for 33. Terrific trio. How would Cornett, Farnham, and Spatola fare against those three? I don't know. We got to get that rolling sometime.
Just a terrific effort. I don't think Coach Odom could have scripted a better first half, but I know Chris Jans on the other side too. He's not going to let his Aggies go down without a fight. And to be a fly on the wall in that locker room, dare I say, probably an R-rated version of a locker room speech. But somebody on New Mexico State has to show some fight. Even if they don't make a shot, they got to show more resistance defensively. Giving up 58% is unacceptable from Chris Jans.
And only shot 21%. So yes, I agree. I'm sure it was a little spicy locker room, no question. How do you compartmentalize that if you're a player and almost try to just hit the reset then when you come out in the second half?
Well, you got to be aware that it might not come back with just one play, as Chris Pistola said in the studio as well. You just got to chip away at it. Don't get your head down if one thing doesn't go wrong. And just another really good defensive.
Oh, big shot
possession
for Teddy Allen. The Nebraska transfer now has 9. And that is exactly the way they needed to start. It was a little rocky possession there. Another good defensive sequence for Utah State. Oh, there he is again. He gets free. It's Justin Bean.
Well, they get him thinking that there's a flare screen and New Mexico State fights over the top, and he just curls it all the way to the basket. Really nice design.
15 points. He's on his way perhaps to another 30-point performance. We'll see. He went for 33 yesterday in the double overtime win. Less than 5 to shoot again. Oh, Allen's going to get 3 free throws. Totally bailed out by R.J. Idlerock. So how'd he get open here?
Yeah, watch how this play develops. Bean's going to be the screener to start the play. And as Jones comes around, he's going to get a back screen, and they just do not communicate and go over the top. And that's due to the respect Bean has as a shooter. Yes, there was miscommunication, but the reason they were chasing at the three-point line is because he's added that to his arsenal. And just a good read there.
So our officials are going to the monitor to determine, was Allen behind the line? Clearly was. And so 3 free throws instead of 2.
Didn't love that call. I thought Idlerock did a pretty good job with Allen jumping into his space, but see if he gets that right hand just a little bit over. If he has that straight up 5 and wide, if he's got the hand straight in the air, probably doesn't get the whistle called. Ever so slightly gets an angle.
Well, that's going to be a point of emphasis. You just alluded to it a moment ago. This year in college basketball is just not rewarding, if you will, that offensive initiated contact. So it's a lot of jargon. What does that mean? You know, it's, you think back to Trae Young and the playoffs from May and June, and you know, if you are leaving your typical shooting motion and landing spot to seek out the defender, these officials, they've just been instructed, call that less. Really be keeping an eye out for it.
Sure, the defender's entitled to their space the same way the offense is. So if offense jumps into their area and they're in a legal guarding position, then don't reward the offense.
So Allen with all 6 for New Mexico State to begin the second half.
You see they press to try to speed this game up a little bit.
Jones is wide open, lets it fly, buries it. Rylan Jones, he's got 14. It's now 3 straight games in double figures for the junior. He is off to a superb Utah State career start.
I don't blame Christians for trying to press, change things up a little bit, but this is a tough team to press. They're just such a good passing and shooting team that spreads you out.
Jones, eyes up, not a flappable point guard. He lost his footing and he's grabbing his face, and it looked like he's on the tumble down. He might have went face first. A tough guy right there.
Yeah, just gets tripped up on the baseline here, loses his footing, slaps a chin or nose, something on the hardwood.
You know, and sacrifice, that's really sacrificing the body to get the pass away as opposed to brace the fall. You hope he's all right. Got up pretty quick. Foul on the entry pass. That's the first on Horvath.
Yeah, better job there. McNair gets deep post position. They've got to get those inside shots, let them lead to inside rebounds if they're going to chip away at this.
25-point lead at the half for Utah State. Rice, hit the side of the rim. McNair has his first bucket of the game, a junior from Philadelphia. So it's back to a 22-point game. And it's exactly that. It's a game of just slowly chipping away. Winner to the championship game of the Myrtle Beach Invitational on Sunday. Jones sets the feet. High archer. He hasn't hit the rim yet.
It's unbelievable. And look, I keep going back to last game. In the first half and early in this season, Rylan Jones was pump faking a lot. And now he's just shooting with no hesitation. He's too good and too accurate of a shooter to have any hesitation, and defenses must respect every single part of his game.
Yeah, clearly in a zone right now. There's Jabari Rice. I mean, Utah State just continues to have an answer. They're 3 of 3 from the field to begin the second half, and that elevates its field goal percentage to 62% from the field.
Catch and shoot kid, 5 of 6 from deep. At the hand in the cookie jar there with the beautiful form. No rim there.
Like you just said, 5 triples for Rylan Jones.
You think about how much pressure that takes off guys like Dean and Horvath when you have
McCants,
Jones,
nice block.
Miller on the perimeter. So many pieces that complement one another on this Utah State team.
And Dane, they are gelling together pretty quickly. Craig Smith, he took a couple of starters with him to Utah when he left Utah State in the offseason. Horvath, he's one of the UMBC transfers that came along with Ryan Odom when he took the job. That is now 9 triples for the Aggies. So it's a couple of transfers. It's players like Bean, and they have gelled together pretty quickly in the early goings. You know, by the way, Utah State, if you remember, they lost their Portuguese stud, Neemias Keita. It was a second-round draft choice. They lost an NBA talent, but they should still be at the top of the Mountain West again.
You bring up a great point. If you didn't know any better, you'd say this Utah State team's been together for 4 straight years, and I think you get these types of results with great leadership from Coach Odom, but high IQ, unselfish, skilled players.
Oh, Horvat, now they're just clowning on him. 10 threes, and the lead to 29.
Yeah, confidence through the roof for the Utah State Aggies right now. The rim is as big as an ocean.
Foul away from the ball. That's on Brock Miller, his first. Largest lead of the day. If that three at the moment had put Penn ahead 74-73 with a few seconds left in that first overtime, they reviewed it, said, hey, that little that toe was on the end line, changed it back to a deuce, and eventually we went to double overtime. By what, 1 shoe size, Utah State, I don't know if Kevin Durant's watching, but that helped them stay in that game and, of course, win it in double overtime.
Yeah, Penn was extremely feisty and would not go away. And lesson learned, if you want to call it a wake-up call for Utah State, they've received it. And, I mean, look, they were playing hard yesterday, no question, but in terms of how sharp and the execution, this has been just the blueprint for Utah State Aggie basketball.
They're going to have loads of confidence heading into Sunday if it, of course, takes care of business. There's still a lot of time on the clock, but a lot of threes are being made today by Utah State. That's now 11, a season high.
As if they needed one more three-point shooter. I mean, Ashworth has struggled from 3, but he is certainly a catch-and-stick guy. Good to see him getting some confidence as well if you're a Utah State fan.
This is Allen, and they certainly have to start letting them fly from deep. The problem is they haven't been nearly as efficient as Utah State. 5 of 20 from deep, and the ball goes back to Utah State.
And even though they do get that day of rest tomorrow before the championship game on Sunday, look, having a 30-point win certainly helps from a physical recovery standpoint as opposed to another hard-fought overtime type game. So this day has gone about as well as you could want if you're Coach Odom. But, you know, this is what you get, a mature team, what you think you're going to get when you got a bunch of older guys, you got a bunch of married dudes on this team, and the maturity is shining through right now.
And they are letting them rip from deep. Horvath with the latest attempt, 11. Even with that miss, they're still better than 50% from beyond the arc. And Teddy Allen double dribbled there, so that's another turnover. Look, let me ask you this. And yesterday it was Bean. Today it's a bevy of different players just in an absolute zone. You know, big-time college basketball fans are going to remember the name Chris Lofton. We're talking about one of the best three-point shooters in SEC history. You spent a few years with him. Like, what did it look like when a player like Lofton was just, you could tell he locked into that zone.
Yeah, and when you have a star like that starts going off, I mean, the confidence and swagger that your team gets carries over to the other end. And for Utah State, I think it would be shorting them if you just talked about what a great shooting team they are.
Right.
They're a great shooting team, yes, but they get those shots because they're a threat to drive, and they have their head up, and they're willing passers, and there's not a selfish player on this squad.
Chichi Avery, watch that one go down and out. A sophomore from Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, just overwhelming New Mexico State in just about every facet of the game. Avery is saying, he's imploring Pat Adams to go, take a look. Obviously, we're not underneath the 2-minute realm. We got a ways to go.
It's kind of like when you're playing Madden on PlayStation. If you're down 21, you got to give up the sticks. If you're down 30, you're not getting reviews. We need to implement that rule.
Ashworth throws the interception. Avery on the move. Marseille Cotton, not that time. And Lee Cassell calls time. And you see Jabari Rice has his hands on his knees, clearly uncomfortable. Limping slightly on that left leg. So Rice walks to the bench.
Kevin, I will say, for anybody just joining or watching this game that has not seen New Mexico State play, they are a much better team than what you're seeing right now. I mean, they were terrific, and a big win against their rival UTEP when they finally got in their home arena, beating a well-coached, well-skilled Davidson team yesterday. And right now, they've just run out of gas. Been one of those days for New Mexico State Aggies, but this is certainly not indicative of who they are as a program or where they're heading this season.
Ball goes back to New Mexico State. Look, they were selected to win the WAC for the 8th time over the last 9 years, and yes, this feels more like an aberration. This club is going to be at the top of the WAC once we hit March. At or near the top, we should say. But Utah State's been overwhelming. A 30-point advantage. The winner of this one heads to the championship on Sunday. Here's Max Scholga getting some run. The steal, and his shot is smothered. Oh, and he runs right into one of the folks on the baseline. A little bit of a pile-up that time. Looks like everybody's all right.
You got to love the hustle on this one. I mean, no quit here. Sloppy play, but Avery's going to chase it down here and just
look out,
compete no matter what. And lucky there for the bystander.
Utah State with 11 threes as a team. They have been smooth and clean operating on this side of the floor. Avery with an athletic block that time. Jab step in the corner. Scholga poked it free, and he's going to get rewarded. Second chance. Fouled. And Max Scholga, the Ukrainian, at the line when we return. Boy, Utah State, too much to handle. 30-point lead.
And most importantly, just competitors top to bottom on this roster.
Well, and then defensively as well. They've held New Mexico State to just 26% shooting from the field. What's the, okay, look at this. Right down bottom right of your screen. That's a telling stat.
Oh, yeah, you assist on about 80% of your made field goals. That'll lead the country in that type of stat. And so just shows how they're able to get open shots. And you connect better as a shooter when you're getting the ball in places you expect to get it and you're prepared for the shot. And Utah State is never surprised by a pass or by a shot. It's all within the rhythm of their offense.
Boy, Rylan Jones, he gets the first ice bath, I think, later today or tomorrow. He took all those charges yesterday. Boy, he fell flat on his face earlier, and he gets bumped here. He is.
Yeah,
he's
needs
a tough
to have
dude.
That mop named after him there, because every time Rylan Jones goes down, the mop duty comes out.
So he's got 17, Dane, to lead all the scorers in this game, 5 of 6 from deep. He's got a little inside job going here in a sense. There's Horvath with another. Remember, he played in this gym in this tournament 2 years ago for Utah. So if there's anyone to be used to the the lighting, the look, it's Rylan. McKinney rises, left hand, that's good.
Nice cut there, good interior passing by New Mexico State. I've just been so impressed with Utah State. You know, typically when you get a big lead, you let off the gas a little bit, and that's very common But these guys have not played the scoreboard 1 minute. They've just continued to execute.
Oh, the Ukrainian Max Shulga with his first points of the year. Those free throws earlier, and the Tripoli now has 4. They're on the move again. Shulga cherry picking, going up, blocked. McKinney, great contest in the effort to get back and deny that one, but he did foul him.
Really good hustle by McKinney. Despite being down big, you gotta love the no-quit effort here by 4 in black. They've got some athletes now, and this is one of those where I think Chris Jans has to, you don't want to let your team just not learn from it, but there are some games that you kind of do the burn the tape thing, and trust me, as a player, after a game like this, you are thrilled that you just get to play the next day. Now, they'll get the day off tomorrow, but in terms of having a week off or anything like that, yeah, quick turnaround, so you can put this one behind you and don't have a week of practice punishment, if you will.
Another turnover, and Shulga is actually going to get, in those hustle stats, he's going to get 1 more for the charge taken.
Well, that's how you earn minutes. I mean, and again, it's their stars doing this, role players, guys coming off the bench. But whoever's going to get Utah State in the championship, you got to learn when you go into the paint, it better be under control. Jump stop, kick out, floater, whatever it is, you can't have your body momentum carrying you into the charge because the Aggies in white are waiting on you.
Well, usually when you take a charge, all you have to worry about is just the big guy barreling towards you, not a shoe about to. Yeah. He almost had shoe to the face there. Close range look for Cotton offline. And again, just to underscore it, this feels more like just a really off day for New Mexico State, a team that's poised to be at the top of the Western Athletic Conference once again. There's Rylan Jones now with 19. And by the way, the big news around Las Cruces is, at the top of the WAC, but only for so long. What was it, earlier in November, New Mexico State announced its decision to leave the WAC. It's headed to the Conference USA, and 2023 is the expected initiation date, if you will.
Yeah, there's a ton of conference realignment going.
Yes.
These two teams used to be rivals as well in the WAC. What, they hadn't played since 2013, is that correct?
Yep.
So it's going to be tough to have consistent rivalries with all the different conference realignments and everything else. So as if keeping up with the transfer portal wasn't enough. Now you got to figure out what conference is everybody in.
Yeah. Porter Moser and the Sooners, they're playing at 5 o'clock. Depending on how well Oklahoma does this year, Porter Moser, can he get a Big 12 Coach of the Year award?
Yeah.
And then maybe an SEC one in a few years. Williams leaves it short. Allen and several black jerseys on the floor for it. A 35-point advantage for Utah State. Mike Peake nails the J. A circuitous journey for someone like Peake. He starts at Georgia as part of that Anthony Edwards 2019 class. He didn't get much playing time. Transferred to Austin Peay, and now here he is in Las Cruces.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but they don't win against Davidson without Peake. I mean, he made a huge three in the corner on this end of the court. Also came with a big rebound.
The mid-range, Jay, he can score it from 15. We talked about his instincts and ability to get to the rim. What do you think? The next task, if we're talking about, is he that next great mid-major player that's going to get some next-level looks? Maybe it's just improving the three-point shot.
Well, I think, too, can he guard the other team's best player on the perimeter?
Right.
That's another thing. Now, you don't have to check every box to be a next-level player, but he's a guy that, has had to earn everything he's gotten. So when you have that sort of reputation, people tend to kind of look at what you can't do instead of what you can do, and all he does is just keep overcoming every single objection to where he is a clear-cut star in college basketball.
Went for 33 yesterday, having another fun, not just in terms of basketball, but exposure to the life of a U.S. naval officer. The great SID Kyle Chapman even told us that the team, they ate a meal with the midshipmen. They basically just discussed life. Of course, the life of these Utah State Aggies, Dane, that you acknowledged earlier, it's certainly a unique one. The same goes for the midshipmen. So they traded some stories and then hustled down here to Myrtle Beach. But that was really neat for this team to experience all of that last week.
Well, I think to also be able to engage with the crew and service members that, hey, it's not all just fun and big ships and cool guns and everything else. Here's what the real world looks like on a day-to-day basis for us and the strict regimen they go through. But good for Coach Odom, because as you travel with your team and you're so focused on basketball, film, practice, shoot-arounds, being able to just take a breath, go learn something away from the court.
Do you think Justin Bean broke out his ukulele and played some tunes for the midshipmen? That's a real thing. He's a pretty skilled ukulele player.
Yeah, I don't know that he started off with that, but maybe as he got more comfortable around him, you can bring it up.
Yeah. Let's keep it cool here right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the icebreaker. Hey, I'm Justin. Want to see my ukulele skills?
There's Shulga. The very athletically gifted and then musically refined Justin Bean picks up an assist because he just set up Shimon Zapala for an easy deuce inside. This thing, Dana, we weren't expecting this. This is very unexpected for it to be this lopsided. And even at half, it was a 41-16 score.
Utah State has they haven't gotten sloppy for 1 minute in this game. I can't say enough about that. You get one of these big leads and all of a sudden you start taking ill-advised shots, turning the ball over. I mean, these guys have been relentless, and probably a smart move here to get Justin Bean out of the game. Didn't need quite the performance that they needed on past 2 games, coming off back-to-back career highs, 30-point double-doubles, but still had a huge impact on them getting some separation from New Mexico State early.
Well, look, he has announced himself. I think it's clear he's kind of the leader in the clubhouse for Player of the Year in the Mountain West Conference. It's him or the field right now. And yes, we're only a few games in, but you can't deny the bar he has set in the early goings of this season. Oh, great bounce pass with one hand there. Hamoda found the streaking big man to the rim. And that was Norbert Tellison. And he gets the deuce. It was a goaltend.
You come right in the game and you do your job. You sprint the court. Beautiful bounce pass. Gets it off the glass quick enough. Holds the shoulder a little bit. He's like, man, I just got off the bench for a while. Let me warm up before you send me in to a shot blocker.
And the lead has finally grown to 40. Williams says that not for long. First bucket for LeVar Williams, a junior from Hyde Park, Massachusetts. Now the question becomes, who will Utah State face in the championship of this event? I mean, again, these tournaments are so valuable. It really just helps, install that urgency to win, I think, among a roster early in a season. How to do it, how to close the deal. We'll find out on Sunday who will Utah State face, Oklahoma or Indiana State.
And that's your last chance to simulate what a conference tournament might feel like with playing on consecutive days. And so you see why so many of these coaches embrace the opportunity to play in these invitationals.
Now the good news for Utah State is
they're up 34.
Yeah, outside the obvious. Look, they play in the Mountain West Conference. That was one of the main reasons Ryan Odom wanted this job. So You don't, in that league, you don't necessarily have to win the tournament. Heck, last year Utah State got in as an at-large because, I mean, number one, they deserved it. That's a strong league.
No, that's a great point. I mean, this is a resume builder for them, whereas some schools, hey, they're just prepping themselves for the conference tournament. All the chips are on the table there, but not with the Mountain West.
LeVar Williams wants another, and he's got two. Williams on his third school. He started at NJIT. And then went junior college last year, and now at his third school. A lot of these Aggies, and you know, it'll take a little time. We referenced this yesterday. The New Mexico State Aggies, that is. Wow, beautiful finish, Max Scholga. Oh, the attack, the spin, the English, and he's got one more.
Start to finish.
It was 7-7 a few minutes into the first. And then Utah State went on just a remarkable run, extended its lead to 20 in that first half, went into the break up 25, staying at 1 point. They led by 40. It was 77-37 in this game.
I'll make a prediction that this New Mexico State Aggie team under Chris Jans will not be down 40, much less 30 or maybe even 20 for the rest of this season.
Yeah.
So I look at this as a blip on their resume. But they'll have an opportunity, too, on Sunday in the consolation. That's where you kind of get to get a feel for the character of your team. Did you quit, pack it in, or are you going to come out with some pride and show, hey, that's not who we are, and I don't care who we play in the losers bracket. Let's get better as a team, and that's got to be the message from Coach Chris Jans.
Well, again, to use your word from earlier, I mean, that's going to be a resume-building opportunity. It's going to be Oklahoma, and you know, Indiana State's going to be at the top of its conference this year. So that's a chance to pick up a quality win. Boy, I like Scholga. He showed some fearlessness. He's staring down his man after the bucket. And Scholga now with 9. He's gotten to the line 5 times as well. Make it 11, pardon, for the Ukrainian.
Yeah, crafty, efficient score. I mean, there's not many players on Utah State that when the ball is in their hands, you're worried that they're going to make the right decision as a coach. I mean, that's that free-flowing offense where just smart guys, 1 through 5, making the right decision. And you know, Coach Odom, a completely different takeover of a program of Utah State versus what he did at UMBC, where he really had to build players up and give them confidence and establish a tradition, as opposed to here, he's trying to carry on a tradition of winning basketball at Utah State. And he's very humble about that. It is not at all a new sheriff in town. He's appreciative of the past, the tradition, and a big reason why he took the job at Utah State.
You know, I think mom and dad are enjoying this week's games. You know, Ryan joked to several reporters, you know, in the off-season media days leading up to the opener, his dad, that's a big 3, one more coming. Of course, his father, longtime coach at Dave Odom, Virginia, and Wake Forest, so on and so forth. He was asked, you know, what advice did your father give you about this job? He goes, one thing he asked me to do is try to negotiate earlier start times into my contract. You know, mom and dad got to stay up till 9, 10 o'clock now with those Mountain Time starts.
I do wonder, you know, like any parent, sometimes you can be more nervous watching your kid than actually playing the game yourself. I wonder the same is true for coaches. Coach Dave Odom, or was he more nervous coaching his own games or watching his son coach? Terrific coach, several Coach of the Year's honors, did terrific at Wake Forest, South Carolina as well. And boy, the celebration there, Gillis, the bench feeling it. I think I know who the fan favorite is from the bench perspective.
All right, so he's listed as 13. He's got number 20 on, so we got that Connor Gillis. Nicely done. All right, just another. So what are we up to now? 14. The program record is 20. And This game was too lopsided for them to reach that. But 14 threes after 9 yesterday. Oh, he's trying to go to work once again. And Utah State will play Sunday. Zapala power dribble. He'll play Sunday at 3. Gillis knocked that one away, and then it was bounced off of a New Mexico State player. Who will they face? We're going to find out at 5 o'clock tonight. Oklahoma and Indiana State in the second semifinal. Our friends Chucky, Kev, King McClure, they've got that call for you. That's on ESPN2 as well at 5 Eastern. A blow-by and a bucket for Marseille Cotton, the Ontario native. All right, what's the next, let's say, 48 hours like for this team? You got a little time, you got to prepare. What is it?
You know, all these, half the team's married. Spend some time with your wife. Maybe go to a nice dinner or something. I don't know. It's different than most programs, but I know this. They'll be ready for the championship game. This is a talented, mature, skilled, and arguably the most competitive team I've seen in this field so far.
Utah State shoots 56% from the field, a scintillating 40.